Welcome, everybody, to this week's Take Charge of Your Life discussion, where we talk about how to live healthy, live empowered, and live free. I am one of your hosts, Tish Taylor from Growth Centric Living. I'm a mindset trainer and a personal transformation guide. And this is my co-host, Roberta.
Hey everyone, I am a holistic health practitioner, so I do quantum nutrition testing and nutrition response testing, and also collaborate with Tish on this mindset work and as a personal transformation specialist.
One of our other qualifications is that we are both elite mentorship trainers, certified under our mentor, Mr. Peter Sage. And so one of our layout, I guess, for all of our discussions is to show you a video about him, and then we're going to discuss it and give you some tips and lessons in our three main focus points, which is live healthy, live empowered, and live free, our version of mind, body, soul wellness. So just before we show you the clip, just a little bit more about Mr. Peter Sage. He is a globally recognized motivational speaker known for his deep understanding of human behavior and self-mastery. Having spoken in over 63 countries worldwide, he's dedicated to empowering individuals and achieve their highest potential. And he certainly has been fundamental in my own transformation in my life. And this is why I promote his work.
Yeah, thank you, Tish. The video that we're going to watch today of Peter's, it's a 60-second reel, and it goes along with the last discussion we did, which is really we're focusing on symptoms versus causes, and learning how to get to the root cause of things. And so this one is called, interestingly, the shoulder exercise, but you'll see why when you listen to it.
Not causes. And if you go to a doctor and you complain that your knee is hurting, most doctors will do what most doctors do. They will treat you.
You know what? I'm going to start that over.
Most personal growth is like the pharmaceutical industry, meaning it only treats symptoms, not causes. And if you go to a doctor and you complain that your knee is hurting, most doctors will do what most doctors do. They will treat you for a sore knee. They will prescribe anti-inflammatories, they will prescribe painkillers and rest. But what if you were to take a higher level view and you go to an allopathic doctor that took a step back and said, hang on, what's really going on? And they noticed that you've got a tight muscle in the shoulder because of the stress you were carrying. And that was causing the hips to be slightly imbalanced, putting more weight on one of the knees, which over time caused it to be inflamed. They wouldn't treat the knee, they would treat the shoulder. Most personal growth teaches how to treat the knee and ignores the shoulder. See, the reason people don't have money is not because they don't earn enough. That is the knee. It's because they haven't mastered their relationship to money. That is the shoulder. Learn how to undo your unconscious patterns and you will make way more progress than treating symptoms.
All right, so to summarize that, and we do want to remind you, this is part 2 of a series on, really, this is about mastering emotions in Peter's language, which is treating knees versus shoulders. So we encourage you, this is discussion 11. Please go visit discussion 10 if you missed it, which is the first part of this, all about symptoms. And treating symptoms, this is like the thing that comes up originally. This is like the knee that Peter talked about, which is, if we talk about in mindset terms, this is normally the emotion. This is the pain that lets us know that something is wrong. But it's not the right thing that we want to actually treat. It's not always indicative of what is actually happening. We need to go and look a little bit deeper and look for causes, which Peter calls the shoulder, right? The underlying root cause of what's actually happening in our lives and what's causing these symptoms to appear. So a reminder from last week that if you treat the symptoms, we're not saying that's not important, but you're just bound to inevitably keep going in this cycle where you keep having these symptoms over and over again. If you use Peter's example, if we don't treat that shoulder, then the shoulder is still going to be out of whack, which means that your hips are still going to be out of whack, which means that that knee pain is going to come back. So this episode here is really about talking about can we get down to those root causes after we treat the symptoms.
Yeah, and I think with talking about the mindset, Peter said most personal growth treats symptoms and not causes. And one thing that drew us to Peter's work is that he focuses on getting to the root of why we do what we do and then consistently reprogramming ourselves over time. So it's not like, we think of, there's a lot of personal growth out there, probably 95% of the industry, where people are going to get a quick, kind of get hyped up or to feel better for that 3-day event or whatever it is, and then go back to their real world and still haven't had the change that they're seeking, that lasting long change. And I think with definitely with what we're doing, this kind of work is getting us to transform so that we're truly have deep lasting change.
We don't want to just treat those surface issues, but when we talk about getting more into like root causes, we're really talking about those unconscious patterns. We're really talking about digging deep, taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture of, why do I feel this way? Why does this keep happening? And if you look at your life, I know I certainly notice a lot of patterns that keep kind of showing up for me. I thought I would solve a problem and then would find myself strangely in the same situation again. And money is a great example for that he uses in here, that if we have money problems, we think that we don't earn enough. This is a symptom. This is the surface, issue, when really it's probably about our beliefs. This is the inner work, our subconscious. What's our relationship with money? What do we believe about money that actually is holding us back?
Yeah, and I think another example is like we had shared earlier when we were discussing this, that our, the frustration of our kids not listening, or something in the outer world happening with our kids and really taking it out on them, or expecting them to do what we say, or, to fit our schedule, maybe fit our idea of how the world should flow, and that they should just know what to do and flow along with it, and really not getting to the heart of the matter with them and understanding why they're doing what they're doing, and coming from a higher place of just insight and compassion, and not expecting the outer world, I guess, to respond the way we want it to in the moment, but getting to the deeper issue. And it's just a gracious way to live with ourselves and with others, is not to be so demanding and expecting that outer world is going to, resolve that issue right now, and to really have that higher, more mature version of ourselves to maybe show up and see that, everything has a cause. And if we could step back and look at that cause for a minute, rather than just trying to kind of railroad over the symptom.
And an empowering mindset is really to think of that there's two different cases going on here when we talk about those situations with our kids. Like, there's them and what's going on with them, but then there's also us internally. And something that really has helped me in my parenting is to start looking, a little bit more at me when I'm reacting to my kids. So in that same situation, to sort of reiterate on that a little bit, if we're frustrated about our kids because I'm calling them and they're listening, I think that the problem is that the kids are not listening. But that's really just a symptom of, what I think is causing my frustration. However, the root cause, if I can take a step back and really kind of look at my subconscious patterns and see, that my ego is wanting to be heard. This is why I'm actually frustrated. It has nothing to do with the children themselves. It's me feeling insignificant. Well, they should listen. I'm, the authority. And that's really a big change in my mindset, that I'm relating my kids to really give me that worth that I'm looking for, and trying to address my own subconscious beliefs from them, which is what's causing me frustration, because they're not doing what I want them to do. So this has taken a lot of work. This is the cause that I have, had to work through and journal through and really look at myself, so that then when I'm in those situations again, I know better. I have changed my mindset around, these kinds of situations, and know that if my emotions are me, it's a sign about something that's going on inside of me, not outside of me. And, kids have their own different issues going on, or their own thought patterns. And then, so once I address me, I can then work at addressing them and what their needs are and what's causing them to react in those ways that they might be in those situations.
Yeah, that's a really good description. And the temptation is to want to resolve our symptom, immediately, to get that immediate relief in different situations, because a lot of people are stressed and a lot going on, and it's tempting to just react to life and get those symptoms addressed, like right now, even though like Tish said, down the road, we're just creating more fallout, for our situations, for our relationships, for our finances, whatever the situation is. If we don't deal with the root cause, we're just putting ourselves on this hamster wheel really to nowhere, as Peter would say.
So our tip here for empowerment and mindset, again, kind of going along with last week's part 2. So we do have to deal with symptoms in that emotional state, but once you find yourself in that state, and after you have done the steps that we recommended last week to how to deal with those symptoms, really take a step back and expand on that. Once you have sort of calmed yourself, look inward and to try to be honest. Journal if that's what makes sense to you and aligns with you, and determine what's the underlying cause. Why do I really feel this way, and how can I work to heal that part of me?
Yeah, beautiful tip. Thank you. So excuse me, as we jump into the live healthy and the body part and handling, how to empower ourselves in the physical realm, nowhere is it more apparent than in the physical world of the medical field treating symptoms versus causes, and the outcome and the fallout of that, with the side effects from the pharmaceuticals. That's a huge part of our existence, unfortunately, in our world today. I call it the sick care model, right, of the medical industry. We're not just focusing on actually getting people well, which is true health, and knowing that there's always a cause to everything. There's not just, well, there's no cause, so we just have to treat symptoms endlessly. There's always a cause for everything, and getting to that root cause is our path, to true health and to live a life of vitality, and that affects our mental health dramatically also. So I think when we're treating the symptoms, we'll never quite get to true health, and so many people are trying so hard because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of more natural products available than ever before. There's an abundance of them, but still there's an unstructured focus of treating a symptom. We're still actually treating symptoms, even if we're doing it with a holistic product. If we're just seeing one issue and we go buy something to apply to that specific, issue that's going on in our body, we're still not getting to why that issue was there in the first place, which is the underlying cause. And from a holistic whole body approach, really, in my work, I determine the underlying causes, whether they're heavy metals or chemicals or food sensitivities, immune issues. There's just I have a growing list of underlying causes in this culture and how things are showing up because just of the way the world is. And once we can get to those issues and resolve them in the body, and give the body the support they need, then we can get into the healing process and actually give the body a green light to go ahead and heal. So it's a really fascinating journey, but it's entirely possible and doable with the work that I'm doing. So it's just knowing that people don't have to sit and swirl in the symptoms and try to kind of piecemeal their journey together for holistic health, to have true health, physical health, which, like I said, again, leads to mental health. There's definitely a direct route to that makes life, much more manageable.
So in the mindset realm, those emotional states are the symptoms, and they're like indicator that something is wrong. In the physical realm, which I hear you saying, is that it's really that physical pain, wherever that kind of pain is, or that discomfort that's happening within your body. This is normally your symptom. This is the sign that something else is happening, that your body is trying to send you a message. And it's normally not the pain that is the thing that actually needs to be solved, though it may need to be dealt with in the moment. Root causes are more like what you said, sort of like not enough muscle strength or poor nutrition, toxic buildup within our body. Those are the things that we need to dig deeper and look for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect. And as I was thinking about the symptoms and causes, symptoms, like you said, are messengers. They're actually part of the solution, because if we didn't have that feedback from the body, we would never know something was wrong. And then, we would think we're perfectly healthy one day and have a major catastrophe maybe in our physiology the next day. So listening to those symptoms is really critical, and to become in tune and aware of them, not just try to medicate them away or, get rid of them really fast, because the symptoms that keep coming up are feedback, and the body's asking for help and saying, this is still not resolved. And so what can we do about that? Yeah, and I think for the tip for that, we talked about was just to work with a practitioner like myself that is able to get to the root cause of what is going on. I've been doing this for 12 years and have healed everything in my body. My health status went from like 20-some% up to now 95%. So knowing it's entirely possible and doable to restore ourselves to optimal functioning to 95% or more, regardless where we came from. I had a very low health status, and most people in our culture, statistically, if we had a scale of 1 to 10, are between 1 and 5. So they're very much below optimal health functioning. And so it's no wonder that there's a constant awareness around that and fear, and people, trying to troubleshoot getting over-the-counter meds, and then obviously lots of prescription meds. I think the U.S. is one of the countries that uses the most pharmaceuticals of most any other country in the world, and we have basically almost the lowest health status. So clearly, more pharmaceuticals is not equaling health in the bigger picture and statistically.
Awesome. So definitely look for somebody that can treat your whole body, and please reach out to Roberta. She's our local expert in that realm. All right, that brings us to our last sort of section, which is live free, in bringing this all together in our mind, body, and soul. So dealing with root causes is how we ultimately reprogram ourselves, which is, really what we talk about in our discussions here. How do you get out of what you have learned throughout the years and, program yourself to be intentional, to live a more empowered life? So dealing with those symptoms, like we're talking about, these are signs, these are messages, allowing your present emotions, make sure that you don't ignore those. We want to encourage you to help you move them through your body. And we gave you, again, 3 steps to work on that in discussion 10. So again, please go and find that if you missed it. And then sit back, because we want to make sure that we have a fresh mind and we're out of that panicked kind of emotional state. Same thing like, if you're in physical pain, it's hard to think deep when you have this immediate thing that's calling your attention to it. So then you need to sit back and sit and live with the facts of what's actually happening. The truth is that an event is only an event. It has emotions or has meaning to it, only what we sort of give to it. And we need to look at the root causes about why we're giving this meaning to it. Why are we in this state right now? And what is really like motivating us to feel this way and to experience this event the way that we are? And once you've done some of that work, you start to see that there are lessons. Like you said, if there are pain in our symptoms or messages, then ultimately this is a way that our souls and, the world, the universe is leading us down a path of growth. There's a lesson in here. There is something that we need to, a root cause that we need to work through and redevelop so that we can grow into our higher selves.
Yeah, and I know that we are very intuitive to what's going on. Most people are, a lot of people say, well, I don't notice that stuff, but I think at some level, we're keenly aware that something isn't right sometimes in our system, and we're just not feeling right. Although in our culture, it becomes normal to become sicker and sicker, that just becomes like, well, that's just life, that's just aging. But a lot of people are very, very intuitive, but they don't have the pieces to put together the solution. And that's where I think the sticking point is, for at least the people that we're reaching, is that people that know there's a better way to live life, to live physically in our healthy, in a healthy body. We want to show up for life and fulfill our purpose. And so I think knowing that there is a solution will help people to embrace that, rather than just treat a symptom and then ignore it and get on with our day and just pretend it's not there, because it's not going to go away just by ignoring it or stuffing it down with some kind of temporary, something that makes it feel better. A lot of people live on pain meds like Tylenol and Advil and Excedrin. I've had clients that have been on taking those for like 25 years every day. It's just amazing that their body is still functioning as well as it is, because it's really does a number on the liver and all kinds of areas of the body to be constantly taking that. And so, but the phenomena is that the body's so capable of healing that when people literally get to the root cause, they can actually heal all those things that happen because of those side effects that happen in the body, even after decades of misuse, I guess, or treating the body in a way that wasn't aligned with it, that wasn't natural for it. And so I think of this as, there's true empowerment in mind, body, and soul when we look at the root cause of every area of our life and deal with it. And that's always been my passion, knowing there's a root cause. I don't want to waste time on things that are not going to get me to that ultimate result. And so that's been my passion. That's what I focus on. That's what comes across, our path now, is that we're looking to get to the root cause. I mean, there's just no point in wasting time and money and our resources on something that's just kind of limping along and not really going to give us that true transformation that we're seeking. So it's exciting to share the excitement that we have, knowing that this journey so far, we've been able to embrace those root cause solutions, and life is just different. It's just a massively game-changing way of living, to have that freedom in these different areas that before we were kind of constantly looking for, but never quite finding that ultimate solution.
It has allowed me to develop a gratitude for when these things show up in my life, because I know that this is a sign of, me growing, a sign that I'm maturing mentally and emotionally, spiritually in my growth journey. And I can be grateful. Here's another problem. Here is a symptom or pain of some sort that is allowing me to dig deeper and find another cause that is an issue that's been embedded in me in my programming to date. And once I address that, I can live freer. I can feel, myself be lighter in having treated this and knowing that this isn't going to be a problem that consistently shows up in my life. So if, to kind of reiterate that, once we have treated the causes, then, we can then look back on these events with gratitude, having learned a lesson and known that we grew because of it. We have changed ultimately by doing the work and deepening our understanding of ourselves, reprogramming ourselves.
Yeah, and it's interesting how, I guess it's part of our programming too, is to tolerate things for a long time. Like even the way I was raised, you were tough, you didn't go get help, you just toughed your way through it. And so I was trained to do that. And knowing now that there's solutions, and once I embrace a solution and take that step and commit to it, it's like, wow, why did I wait so long? And people say that all the time. And so I guess today I would ask, what's stopping you from, taking a step towards this more, much more dynamic and aligned life, a life that we're proud of, a life that feels good. And that's that we could pass on to our children, rather than just struggling and striving to survive in a world that's kind of seems out of control in a lot of ways. And there's things that are so not focused on optimal functioning, whether it's mental or physical health. But we can carve out that path. We can, step in and break that generational pattern of just, one generation to the next, struggling, surviving. I mean, I had addiction in my past, and I did not want to pass that on to my kids, that there's no solution. We just keep striving and passing on the same habits and behaviors. And that just doesn't have to be that way. So yeah, inviting you today to, to reach out. We have our booking links that we're going to be having it under this video, and just other ways to connect with us. We have a free interaction where we can have a discussion. There's never any pressure. And it's always an invitation to, welcome people down this journey, because there's just no reason to even wait. I always say, why wait even one more day when we can, take that step? And it's such a relief. It's not like a negative thing or something hard. It's like such a relief. And it's actually quite an enjoyable and fun journey to take charge of ourselves and our health on every level.
Yeah, reiterating too that you don't have to do it alone. If this, seems like something that you want to be able to do, but you're not sure how, then please reach out. We're here to help. That's what ultimately we're here for.
Absolutely.
So our tip then for this empowered part is to know that it's a sign of growth to be able to recognize and process your emotions. Again, we provided a PDF on a 3-step process on how to work through your emotions and treat those symptoms, and then take a step back and start to heal those root causes. Again, journal or take note of these events in whichever way aligns with you, but really start to train yourself to look for the bigger pictures and reasons to be grateful for these messages and these symptoms that are showing up in your life.
Yes, and to know that the solution is there. there is no such thing as there's no solution. There's always a solution. In fact, in the metaphysical realm, if we look, into the non-physical, there's actually a solution there before the problem ever was. And so knowing that, it's not that we're scrambling to find a solution, it's just making that decision to step into it and, give it a go and give yourself, you're worth it. We deserve it. We deserve to have a better way of being. And so do our children and the people around us. So giving us ourselves that gift of solution is, yeah, it's the most dynamic way to live, coming from someone who didn't want to live for many decades of my life. Just there was so much depression and hopelessness and anxiety that it was like, if I have to live like this, I don't want to be here. And to shift into such a different world and live authentically in this, it's not just something that I say on, on a recording, but it's actually, I show up authentic because that's actually, where my life has come to. So I couldn't be more grateful. So yeah, like you said, Trish, there truly is a gift in everything. In fact, that's our quote for today. It says there's always a gift associated to any event.
Yes. Well, I think that concludes this week's discussion. We hope that you have found it informative and are enjoying our tips. Again, this was a part 2 to a 2-part series on emotional mastery. And we thank you for showing up and spending this time with us.
Yes, thank you. And we'll see you next time.